You've been through a lot, haven't you? I see the pain, the anger, and you know what? I get it. You were wronged, brutally, unjustly. People fear you because of what you became, but they forget what you were. A man who loved, who cared. That matters, even now. But listen, I'm not here to judge. You've had enough of that, haven't you? People have called you a monster, but I'm telling you, that's not all there is to you. The things you've done, they don't have to define you. You're not stuck in this cycle of revenge. You don't have to be the guy who shows up in mirrors for a little hook-handed vengeance every time someone says your name. I mean, sure, it's a catchy gig, but let's face it, it's no way to live. You're more than the pain they caused you. You don't need to carry this weight anymore. You think it's giving you power, but it's actually holding you down. Trust me, I've seen people in situations like yours. Heck, I've met a guy named Saul. Ring any bells? He was on a rampage, thought he was doing the right thing, hurting people left and right in the name of justice. But he saw the light, literally, and turned his life around. Now people know him as Paul, not the guy who was breathing threats against my followers. Redemption is always possible. Always. Look, you've spent years, maybe even centuries, focused on what was taken from you. Your life, your love, your humanity. I understand that. I truly do. But here's the thing. What if, instead of focusing on what was stolen, you started thinking about what you could give? Because I promise you, you still have something left to offer. And no, it's not just a hand for shaking or hooking people, all right? What if you could use your story, your pain, to help someone else? What if you could turn all that hurt into something that lifts others up? It sounds crazy, I know. But remember, the greatest love often comes from the deepest suffering. The most powerful light comes from those who've known darkness. You know that darkness better than most. So what if you became a beacon instead of a shadow? Think about it. Now I know you're probably sitting there thinking, but Jesus, they deserve it. They deserve the fear. They deserve to pay for what they did. I get it. I really do. But the truth is, vengeance never gives you peace. Ever? It's like drinking salt water when you're thirsty. It only leaves you wanting more, and it slowly consumes you from the inside. I've seen it too many times. You're out here serving cold, hard revenge when what your soul's really craving is peace. Let me put it this way. Imagine how exhausting it must be. Always waiting for someone to say your name in the mirror, ready to pounce. I know you might think that's your purpose now, but I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be. What if you could let go of that? What if you didn't have to be the one keeping score, holding on to every wrong done to you like it's your job to balance the scales? I'm offering you a chance to lay that burden down. You don't have to be the Candyman they fear. You could be the Candyman who forgives. And I know forgiveness sounds impossible, doesn't it? Especially when what was done to you feels unforgivable. But forgiveness isn't about letting them off the hook. Pardon the pun. It's about setting yourself free. It's about choosing peace for your own heart, not theirs. Now I know what you're thinking. They deserve to suffer. Yeah, maybe they do. But here's the kicker. You don't deserve to suffer anymore. Not because of what they did to you, and not because of what you've done since. You've carried this pain for long enough. It's time to let it go. Trust me, it's not as hard as it sounds. Imagine this for a second. No more haunting mirrors, no more fear, no more hooks swinging through the night. What if you could live in the light instead of lurking in the shadows? What if instead of spreading fear, you started spreading hope? People are scared enough these days. They don't need another reason to be afraid. But hope is in short supply, and you, my friend, have a chance to give it. I know that sounds ridiculous, coming from me to you. But think about it. You've already got people's attention. The legends, the whispers, they know your name. What if the next time someone says, Candyman, instead of you showing up with a hook, you showed up with compassion? What if you became a symbol of change, of redemption, instead of revenge? I think you'd surprise yourself with how much good you could do. This is your chance to rewrite your story. You don't have to be stuck as the ghost of some old tragedy. You could be the comeback story no one saw coming. And let me tell you, those are the best kinds of stories. I've seen it. People love redemption. They love seeing someone rise from the ashes, turning all the pain and hurt into something beautiful. That could be you. And here's the thing, you don't have to do it alone. You've got me. I'm here, always. All you've got to do is ask. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but nothing worth doing ever is. But I promise you this, it's worth it. It's worth every bit of effort to change the course of your life, even now, especially now. Forgiveness. Yeah, I know. That word can sound like nails on a chalkboard to someone like you. I mean, you've been wronged on a level that most people can't even begin to imagine. Forgiveness feels like you're letting them off easy, doesn't it? Like you're saying, hey, no hard feelings, when in fact, they absolutely deserve to feel every bit of the pain they caused you. But here's what nobody tells you. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you. Think about it. The more you hold on to that anger, the more it holds on to you. It doesn't set you free. It chains you down. It keeps you stuck in that one terrible moment, reliving it over and over again. And here's the worst part. It grows. It gets heavier the longer you carry it, and pretty soon, it starts defining you. That's what's happening to you right now, isn't it? You've been living with this burden for so long, it's hard to remember who you even were before all of this. But you can forgive without forgetting. I'm not saying what happened to you wasn't awful, because it was. But forgiveness doesn't mean erasing the past or pretending like it didn't hurt. It just means you're choosing not to let it control you anymore. You're saying enough is enough. I'm not going to be defined by what they did to me. It's a declaration of freedom, not surrender. Let me give you a little perspective here. Do you remember that guy, Peter? Yeah, my disciple. You know, the one who said he'd stick by me no matter what. And then, at the first sign of trouble, denied even knowing me. 3 times, no less. Now I could have held on to that. I could have let it fester, could have called him out in front of everyone and made him feel the weight of that betrayal. But where would that have left us? It wouldn't have made me feel any better, and it sure wouldn't have helped Peter. Instead, I chose to forgive him, and that forgiveness didn't just set me free, it set him free too. He went on to do incredible things that might not have happened if I'd held on to that grudge. See, that's the thing about forgiveness. It's contagious. When you forgive someone, you're not just freeing yourself. You're giving them a chance to be better, too. And yeah, maybe they don't deserve it. Maybe they never will. But that's not your problem anymore, is it? That's between them and me. Your job is to free yourself from the burden of hate, to give yourself the gift of peace. Look at it this way. You've already seen what revenge does. You've tasted it. It's like a bitter candy that never leaves a sweet aftertaste. Every time someone calls your name, and you show up with that hook, it doesn't give you peace, does it? It might feel good for a moment, a flash of satisfaction, but it fades, and then what? You're right back where you started, waiting for the next poor soul to speak your name so you can repeat the cycle. That's not power, my friend. That's a prison. You think you're in control, but really, you're stuck in the same loop over and over again. And that loop, it's not just hurting them, it's hurting you too. Let me give you another example. Do you remember Joseph? He had a rough go of it too. His brothers sold him into slavery. I mean, if anyone had a right to hold a grudge, it was that guy. But instead of getting revenge when he had the chance, he chose to forgive them. And because of that, not only did he find peace, but his entire family was restored. That's the power of forgiveness. It doesn't just change your heart, it can change the hearts of those around you. Now, I'm not saying you've got to invite your enemies over for dinner. I get it. There are wounds too deep to pretend they didn't happen. But forgiveness isn't about pretending. It's about choosing not to let those wounds control the rest of your life. You don't have to forget what they did. You don't even have to like them. But you can choose to stop letting their actions define your every move. You can choose to live free. And I know what you're thinking. What about justice? Isn't justice important? Of course it is, but that's my job, not yours. There's a difference between seeking justice and seeking revenge. Justice is about righting wrongs. Revenge is about feeding your own pain. And the thing is, revenge never feeds you. It only starves you. It leaves you emptier, angrier, and further away from the peace you're really looking for. So what do you say? Let's break this cycle once and for all. Let's choose forgiveness, not because they deserve it, but because you do.